Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to a Valentine's Day edition of Not Perfect Zen. I thought I was finished with Valentine's, but I tried to record on Wednesday, and it happens to be Valentine's Day today. So I thought I'd show you a couple of patterns that I've been playing with lately. This one is from the 100 Days of Tangling that I'm doing with the Tangle All Around Facebook group. But I won't be able to show you the step outs like I usually do on my cell phone because the photo album for that group got messed up. But it looks complicated, but it's not. It's not bad at all. It's fun. I've really enjoyed playing with it. And the name of this one is, it's from the Valentine 2022 patterns. This one is by Marguerite Samama, and the name of it is San Rocco Border. And I'll have all that information down in the description below the video. And the other one I want to show you, you can see this is from my sketch paper that I did the Vitruvius a couple of days ago. This one is called LuvUMost, and it's by Rachael Schwartz. She's a CZT. And this is a little bit different. I didn't especially like how that one turned out, but the pattern behind it is also by Rachael Schwartz, and it is Hero SQ. I'm not sure how you would say that, but it was a lot of work putting that pattern behind it. So I really just want to show you this pattern. And on the other side, this is a little bit closer to how she did it, except I added a few embellishments that she did not have. So I'm going to put this one and this other one on a bookmark just to make it more simple. And this background is called Caught by Christine Reyes, and I taught that on another video in case you're interested. But we're going to start with this one. And all I have is a couple of pieces of paper from my sketchbook that I cut. This is 6 inches by 2 inches, and then I have a little thing for rounding the corners. So I'm going to use a Micron PN, which means plastic nib, and graphite pencil, blending stump, also known as a tortillon, and I have a paper clip in there. I just leave it in there to keep my tip a little bit sharp, and I'll probably use my kneaded eraser. Okay, so let's start with this one. And you can see I did it a little bit differently. This is closer to how she has the step outs. This one I put little hearts. Either way is fine. And we're going to start it. I'll kind of keep this up here. Zoom in a little bit. All right, and the easiest way to do this one, and she does it this way too, is to start with a grid. And I'm going to bring my grid, I'll start the line. And I'm about in the center. Okay, and then about the width of my pencil. I'm going to do that again. So hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to divide it in half. Okay, and divide it in half again. And that will give us 4 of these little hearts that we start with. And our first step is to put these little diamond shapes in the center of each one of these little rectangles. And if you follow these steps, it's super easy. And the only place I know of these step outs is from Marguerite Samama. And I don't think she has it on her website. But like I said, it's easy enough. We're going to start at the bottom of this little diamond. And now we're going to make a swirl, a curve, come back around, and put like a little fescue end. Do that on each one of these. Doesn't matter that one's a little bit longer than the other. Okay, so just come up that line, come to the edge of your rectangle, make that little swirl, and then come back. Okay? Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come off of this one and begin to make our first heart here. Okay? And I like to turn mine like this. The heart is going to come like this. And when you're doing a heart, let me get another piece of paper here. Okay, when I'm trying to draw a heart, so for example, we're going to have it on this little diamond. The heart's going to come around like this, okay, and then come back around this way. So ideally, I'm trying to line up the center of my heart with that edge of the triangle. Hopefully that makes sense. So our heart is going to come off of here. There's our center. And she stops there, but I'm just going to go ahead and make the other side of my heart, and it's going to come down to that edge. All right? I'm not trying for perfect hearts. Okay, again, trying to line that up. Come off of this edge. Make your heart. Come back down. Okay, so there's our first hearts. Let's turn this back. And now we're going to make this little heart. Okay. And this one is going to come from here. Make your heart. And then it comes back down. Okay. I thought this made a very pretty little bookmark. It would make a really pretty border too. Okay, so the next thing she does is, may not have been the next step, but I'm going to do this before I forget, is she colors in half of this little diamond. All right, and then there's the bigger heart or a smaller heart, however you want to do it. Remember, this is your art. Do it the way that you like. I kind of like these big ones. So first of all, I'm going to erase these lines. I'm ready for the grid to be gone. Okay, now we're just going to put little hearts. So I'm going to turn mine like this. And let's start down here with this one, if you can see it. And just come behind this one. Make the top of your heart, and it's going to go behind that one, so you won't see where it touches. We're going to do that on each one of these. That one is barely going to touch. That's okay. And then this one doesn't touch anything as far as down here. All right, so basically that's it. And the next thing that we're going to do is put the aura all the way around. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I like to point my pen towards whatever I'm trying to put the aura next to. So I'm going to start up here at the top of this heart and then just come around, follow the pattern. When you get to this one, come in, back around, and then just take your time. I really like how this one looks. It's so pretty. Okay. Concentrating so I'm not talking. So I've turned my bookmark so it's easier for me to do this. Keep coming around. It's so quiet. I'm sorry. I'm trying to concentrate on this aura, because if I don't, it'll look really odd. All right. So the next thing that she does is she adds this little bit of weighting in some of these little corners. Okay, so again, I'm going to turn my tile, and wherever you have a little dip like this, she's just filling that in. And you don't have to do it all the way around, but some of these you can go ahead and just add that little bit of ink there, adds a little bit of drama, and kind of pulls these together. Maria likes to do that. You could do the same thing up here, wherever they dip in to a little bit of a point. Put as many as you want, or don't put any at all. All right. And you could put some down inside here too. I'm going to leave mine just on the edge. Oops. Now, see, this is what happens when you put a lot of ink and then wipe your hand across it. And one of the things that you can do if you want is sometimes I use my white Jelly Roll pen, and I will put just a tiny touch of white across there to fix that. No mistakes, but I can fix it. All right. The next thing is a little bit of graphite. So where these go behind each other, I'm going to put a little bit of graphite here. And if you want to, like on this one, I put a little bit of graphite where the heart curves. So just very gently put a little bit of graphite, or something I've shown in other videos is you can do this, put graphite down, and then use your blending stump to get a little bit of graphite on there. And then with that, you have a very soft way to add these little curves. Because you don't want to end up with a harsh line. So if I did that kind of hard like that, then it's not necessarily going to get soft. And that one's a little bit dark, okay? So you can just bring it around like that, wherever you would like on the edge, and get a little bit more. Just adding a little bit of shadow on there gives it a nice shape. Okay, so I'm just getting a little bit of graphite on my blending stump. And you can tell it holds it on there. These would be really pretty with some jelly roll pens. I have a set of the Stardust, and they're so pretty. Okay. Oops. That's where I put the white ink. Okay, very simple. And there you go. And I will write on the back of this one. It is San Rocco, I guess, border. And it is by Marguerite. Samama. And she is a CZT. Okay, so there's that one. And I have not tried this one on a bookmark yet, but let's see how it goes. This one looks complicated, but it's really not bad. And I'm going to make this one about that same size, and I'm going to start with a straight line just so I can make sure I get this kind of in the middle. All right. And the way she starts this, and this is on tanglepatterns.com. We're going to put an orb here, another orb on this end, and then right about in the middle, we're going to put another one. This one has two because I didn't get them centered, but it should only have one, more like that. Okay. The next thing that she does is puts a smaller orb here. And here. I'm going to turn it. Does that help? If I keep that there, it helps me know what to do. Now we're going to put two C shapes, like a little seed. And she comes back later and puts an aura around that. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. And then the same thing down here. Little seed shape with an aura around it. Okay? So now we're going to put a big line to connect these dots. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move that. So it's just a big C shape from one to the other. And then we're going to do that again. And then touch at the bottom. Okay? Do this on the other side. And then R that. And it connects at the bottom. Okay, so what we're going to put here is this little heart. And it is 2 mucas, okay? And we're just going to come around like this. Make your little side of the muca and come back around, and it's going to connect at the bottom. And then we do that again on the other side. And this is called kissing muca. Pretty sure I've heard it called that. All right. But this is going to go here and kind of behind these, and then they will touch up there at the top. All right, so hopefully that makes sense what we're doing. So I'm going to start here. I like to start on the side where when I try to copy it, I'll be over here. If that makes sense. I want to do the left side first. So I'm going to come out to start my heart, or my little muca, and then I'm going to curve until I get to that little ball. Make my orb, come back down, going behind, and then touch at the center here. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to come out, pick up my pen to go behind. Try my best to make these the same size, but if they're not, it's okay. So you curve around and then stop, and then come back for your little aura. Okay? Not perfect, and it's okay. Let's do the same thing on this side. So we're going to start at this orb, come behind, come around, touch those, come back up, and before you get to that line, you stop, and then come back down. I wasn't very sure about muca when I first started Zentangle, but I practiced it, and now I love it. Okay, come up, make your little orb, and then come back around. Okay? And then the next thing that she does is an aura all the way around. I'm pretty sure. It's not actually in the step outs, but we're going to put an aura around this. Let's start here. And especially if you decide to put a pattern behind it, like I did on this, then it's nice to have that aura around it. Again, you don't have to add this. You can see that my sides are not the same. It's okay. I just love the drawing. I just love being able to look at step outs and use those instructions to make art. I just love it. And I love sharing it. So I did have a couple of people. I showed a tile. Well, I showed these on Facebook and Instagram. I had a couple of people ask if I had taught it. And so I thought I'd go ahead and try that this morning with a couple of the patterns. I am going to erase my line that's down the center. Okay, this is basically the pattern. And then you can embellish it and do whatever you would like with it. What I did, and I'm going to switch to my Micron 01, is I put these cross-hatching behind mine, and I just like how it made the heart stand out. And I'm just barely touching my pen, and I'm kind of following that side of the heart. You don't have to do this at all, of course. This is just my preference. Plus, I just enjoy cross-hatching a lot. And if you've looked at my art, you'll see that I do it a lot. And normally I'd be going a little bit slower than this, but I don't want to put you to sleep. I don't speed up my videos, but you're welcome to do that using the YouTube controls. Speed it up, slow it down, pause it. I know a lot of people, and I do this too, will watch the whole video first and then come back, and that's a great idea. I'll go ahead and fill these in and then come down here. And again, I'm just barely touching with my pen. And this is just, for me, very relaxing. I love doing this. All right, so there's the first one. And again, that's to make it like that. I'm going to turn and do this side. And you can make these as close together as you want. You could put another pattern in there or just color it in. Just ask yourself, what if I did it this way? What if I did it that way? Try it. I was doing these in my sketchbook. And so what I do is I get a pen or a tile, and outline it. And that way, if I'm practicing for a video, then normally I'm getting ready to teach on a 3.5-inch tile, because I enjoy teaching the classic Zentangle. That's my favorite. That's what I learned with, and I still love it the best. And if you're new to Zentangle, that's the easiest way to learn. I get overwhelmed if I'm trying to add color. So that's just me. If you want to learn how to add color to your tiles, one of my favorite people to watch is Romy Marks. That's R-O-M-I. She is known as the Tangled Yogi, and she teaches awesome classes on using colored pencils. I am too hard on myself when I try to do pencils. I prefer the black and white. Sorry, this is getting a little bit sloppy. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my Micron pen. And I'm going to add just a little bit right here, but I'm not going to fill it all the way in. Gives it kind of a little sparkle. Same thing on this end. Okay. I am going to put a sparkle at the top of this and fill it in. Same thing down here. Should have done it while I was there. It's okay. Oops. And then where these come in, these points, I'm going to fill those in a little bit, similar to what I did there. And then just, this is called, well, I don't know, what do you call that? I don't know. But I'm just pulling my pen up. And when I do that, it leaves just kind of these soft lines. Dark up here at the top, and then it gets a little bit softer. Okay. Then we're going to do that on this side too. And on this side. Okay. And then you can leave this empty in the center, but I'm going to go ahead and add these little petals. So start with one, and then another one, and another one. And then we're going to fill in the spaces that we left. Again, ink these in. Okay, then we do that on the other side. And they look kind of odd. Don't worry about it. And then just fill in this space. Okay, my hand got kind of jumpy there. Fill these in. Okay. And now I'm going to add some shading on top of this. And then inside of here, I'm going to add a little bit of shading around these mucas. And then with my blending stump, I'm just going to pull this down toward the center, but not all the way, because we're going to leave a little sparkle like we did up there at the top. And just softly pull this down. And then we're going to soften it inside. And then with the graphite that's still on my blending stump, I'm just going to put a little C shape at the top of those. Let's do that on this side. And inside of our heart. Okay, soften it. Okay. And then let's put a little bit of graphite at the bottom of these petals. And I just realized I didn't soften this part. And put your little rounded end on these. All right. It looks a little different. For this one, I ended up with 2 auras because I put like Knightsbridge in there, and then it needed another aura so I could put something behind it. I've seen this done where she puts one this way and another one behind it. But look at tanglepatterns.com. You can see how she did the step outs for that. And again, that is LuvUMost by Rachael Schwartz, CZT. All right, there you go. Your Valentine's Day video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a wonderful day. And if you did like this, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments, and share, because that supports my channel, and it helps other people to find my channel. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Love you guys. Bye.